Okay, guys, hi. Welcome to our 30 minutes meeting, 30 minutes idea shot. It's the first live streaming that we are running. We have started this format this summer, but this one is the first live that we took the chance to do it. I'm happy to get feedback from my team and from the public that we have by now is that it's working. So hello, both of you, Alec from Frankfurt and Jan from Prague. We have, hi.
Hello.
You guys, we are so close to each other, you can see. So even if we are so far away, so the social distance, like it is said, is not that distance anymore. So we are pretty close. For our public that it's gathering on Facebook this time, I will let you know, guys, that we will have this 30 minutes debate on the trends of the new normal, the trends of the new strange normal, like I heard somebody saying yesterday. During this condensed time of 30 minutes that we hope that is going to be very effective and fruitful for you guys, please ask as many questions as you like on the live streaming on Facebook, and we will try to answer with using all the technical tools that we have available. If we have a delay, it's because the transmission is not usually like it is in normal life, you know, normal chat, normal face-to-face meetings. Just as an introduction, Jan is a researcher and a sociologist that we partnered with for I don't know how many years already, Jan. Maybe you have a better memory on that.
It was 2008, but I cannot count, so since 2008.
Yeah. And Alec is my partner in this project. We know each other since a lifetime, almost 20 years already. I think we have done the college together, and then we went in different directions professionally, but it was just for us
geographically.
And geographically, but it was with a purpose for us to meet again and share our experiences, and do something fruitful together. So just to open up, I will play a little bit as a moderator, but as we said, we are all three of us, we are moderators, so we are going to be moderators moderating each other rather than being a moderator. But I will propose the theme for today. As we have agreed already, we are going to discuss about the trends of the new normal. And just to open up the discussion with a general perspective and a personal perspective on what is going on in the world right now. How is the pandemic in your countries, guys, now? It's finishing, it's starting. How is like all people really connecting with the situation?
Okay, go ahead, Jan.
Okay, well, thank you for the chance. Well, I think it's proud to start because now we are at the peak, so we are leading. I would say we have the second wave getting much more real than we thought through the summer. The thing is that if I step out from the kind of curves and statistics, which are anyway kind of abundant in the media, what is changing is that you do not see the kind of people who have it in the media with kind of initials, but you know already people around you. And this is the big swap versus spring, where you saw the curves going up, but from small base, but you, for 2-3 months, you didn't know anyone personally. So now actually things are getting pretty closer, which means like the risks is much bigger, but also like it is, I think you are already more adjusted to be coping with it. I mean, like mentally. So that would be in brief if I'm answering your question, Adina.
Yeah, so you are at the beginning of it.
Well, at the beginning of the huge peak, I think we should reach 4,000 in a month, 4,000 positively tested a day, which will be a huge thing.
Yeah. I think it's, you pointed out some really interesting stuff, Jan. That one of the thing is that we are mentally prepared now. Second is that, you know, there's a lot of talk about the post-COVID world. For me, this is fantasy. There will be no post-COVID world. We need to be very clear about that. COVID will always be here. We will have a vaccine, hopefully, maybe not, maybe yes. If we have a vaccine, COVID will be like flu, like polio. If we stop vaccinating, it will spread again. It's the nature of this type of virus that jumps species. The same with the flu. You cannot eradicate the flu because it jumps from the birds, basically. Yeah. So what is interesting though is that, for example, the flu season now in the southern hemisphere is very low because people already follow these measures of social distancing. So the flu spread is really, really low. So I think, so to get back to your question, in my country, what happens is this kind of relaxation that people, because they took the prophylactic measures, they think, oh, nothing happens. But and that's a trick that the mind plays on us. It's like if you do the prophylaxis, there's no glory in prophylaxis. There's a lot of glory in fighting something that it's already happening. But if you are prophylactic, it doesn't happen, but there's no glory in it either. So then your mind relaxes, and then
yeah,
it's like with a bicycle. If you wear a helmet, you start taking more risks, and it may be even worse than if you don't wear a helmet.
Yeah, this is actually the challenge, is that we are not doctors to fix the virus, and not even doctors can fix the virus, and he's going to be here with us and so on. We have to develop ways to fight with it, medically speaking and scientifically speaking. But let's talk about, because we are sociologists, we are an anthropologist, we are in a different part of the society, judging what's going on with the people or debating about what is going on to the people. And as Alec was saying, the mind is playing a game, and it's adapting, and we are adapting emotionally and behaviorally and attitudinally and so on. And I would really like to focus on that during our discussion, to see what is that changing, what kind of changes that this situation adds to people's lives. So how are people coping with the situation in general, and what's going to be the change, which are going to be the changes that are going to stay with us from this moment on, with the people, with the businesses as well, because we are debating a lot of how is that going to change the retail market, how is that going to change the business market, how is that, but what about, because everything starts with people, right? What's going on with the people in your country? What do you feel that it's already changed and it's going to stay with us for forever, or for until the next crisis, at least? Jan.
Well, I think you somehow kind of refer to something that I think also relates to the opening part of the show, which is, I think, the whole kind of response to the situation, and then it also kind of relates to what Alec was saying, is moving or shifting from kind of being fascinated with something which is virulent and virtual to something which is actually very tangible, and you need to cope with it practically, which is and I think that even people are more and more refocusing from kind of digesting the news and trying to understand what this pandemic is, because at the end of the day, this is 50-50 chance, and you cannot do anything else because you only know that 10 days ago you were probably healthy, but that's the only certainty you have. So I think we can observe a lot of shifts in how people slowly and gradually are trying to play the I wouldn't say the new game, but preparing for maybe a different tactic. An example of it will be that if you talk to real estate agents, they tell you that people who are on rented flats are now kind of downtrading to cheaper flats because first the market is open and very cheap after Airbnb kind of cleaned the positions, but also people are trying to kind of reduce the fixed costs of living to be able to kind of play more with the unexpectable, like with the impacts which will be much more on the day-to-day, like employment level, income level, etc., etc. So I can at least from indications observe that people start to be more traders with the uncertainty than kind of being constrained, or how to say, like constriction and kind of fear. And the focus comes from like learning something about COVID to developing strategies how to cope despite the uncertainty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So overcome the uncertainty and the bed, like I was telling you, like breaking the bed with building new coping strategies.
That's good news. I mean, people get how do you say? They become more financially aware, especially in countries that, let's say, do not have a tradition of, and we talked about that, about financial education, like for example Romania. COVID educated us in many aspects. In that aspect that Jan told about. For me, it was surprising. 3 weeks ago, I came to Romania, and a lot of things happened because of COVID, and one of them is spaces, institutional spaces are more approachable because less crowded, people stay in line, which is interesting, and also the repartition of space it's much better, happens in a much better way. Yeah. So I think COVID is a driver of innovation everywhere. A lot of things all of a sudden are possible to be done online, like taxes and things like that, which in Romania people thought that will never happen. So, and there was even a meme going over the internet who drove the digital revolution in your institution, the CEO, the CFO, or COVID? Right. Yeah. So I think is that, and another thing is, of course, how people relate to work, especially kind of white collar work and office spaces. That's a big topic. How people feel that they feel better at home, working from home. Mm-hmm. And this work from home generates a lot of ripple effects, including in real estate also. People kind of like moving towards outside of the cities because they don't have to commute as often. That's one of the tendency that impacts pollution, that impacts, reduces pollution and so on, drives down the prices.
Alec, what about Germany? How do you feel that the COVID is changing Germany?
That's what I was talking about. In fact, these are things that are really on the top list here. How people think about repurposing office spaces in downtown. I think, as you know, there's a vast array of human reaction to COVID, but I think we are still socially awkward because there are instances, that's what I like very much, in the daily life, there are instances in which we don't know how to behave, we don't know what to do with our body. Should I go through here, should I not, should I go around this moment? And the whole use of space on the street and in the stores changes. Yeah, changes in relationship with the others and so on. So I think people, in a way, I've wrote that before. I wrote in an article. What COVID reminded us is that we have a body. We become conscious again of the fact that we have a material body, and other people too. So that's really interesting because then we don't know what to do with it because we live so much in a virtual world.
We have a body, but it's really uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable with others' body, not with my body. So that's becoming a problem. What one challenge about that is that, I know that in Czech Republic, in Prague, in Czech, Republic, the school have started as well, and many people have connected the rise of cases with the start of school from chat debates. So nothing, no research on that. You can tell us if that's about. We have just started the schools now, and there is also a debate here as well that what are we going to do, because kids are going to bring the virus home and it's going to be a boom and so on. On the other hand, there are parents that consider that they shouldn't take the kids to school because of the dangers that come there. And from what I know from Alec, in Germany, school has started in a relaxed way. And the question is not about school and what school should do and so on, because I think the authorities are taking care of that, hopefully. I would rather debate on with you about the presumable impact of all this tension on kids.
On kids?
Yeah. How do you feel if you were to be a kid in time of pandemic? Yeah.
I can tell you about my daughter. She's like, what is this virus? It's like, I cannot do anything. I want to travel. She likes to travel because she was basically born traveling from Vancouver to Hong Kong and now to here in Frankfurt. And she's like, oh, this virus, she's asking me, when is this virus finishing? Because I want to do this and that and that. So they feel restrictions. Yeah.
I'm asking that because kids are the future, right? And we talk about the future, and the future is actually prescribed and drawn in their minds now. What is the positive outcome of this for kids, and what is holding them back?
We had this discussion. We had this discussion with colleagues from Poland, in the middle of summer, and they did some kind of online study or kind of conversation with many families. What there was interesting was that they said that at the beginning of the kind of lockdown situation, it was really for many of the, especially as you were referring to, Alec, like white collar families, it was a revelation for these children, because they actually understood how life at home with parents look like if it is not in a staccato mode, kind of here, not here, no, here, not here, and if it's not just kind of morning and evening. So there was like a huge aha and kind of I would say exaggerated experience of like how family actually lives all the day at home and what positives it brings in terms of kind of having quality time together in the luckiest cases. But I also think that what I was able to observe, I have quite big kids, like 16 and 20, which is not kid anymore. But I could observe that it led to their certain higher level of confidence vis-a-vis like how to organize their days, and it's definitely like driven by the fact that they had to be in touch with the school online, with them being those who had greater competence on how to do it than their tutors in many cases. Yeah. So that's another point, and I think also like that there always had been this tension between how avoidant they were to learn themselves from written stuff and to learn in a classical way. But this was the period of time which actually gave them certain license to work more in a patchwork way in terms of schooling, like to clearly state, well, I know this from YouTube, but I understand who's saying it, and so this is a resource from me. So kind of it opened, I think, a different angle on what school accepts, because there was no other way. And I mean, what school accepts as a source of authority or of a kind of certified learning, piece of learning, if you understand what I mean. So these were the kind of bits of observation. I think that there was this, wow, we have extended holidays, but also like they had to pick up a lot of agenda on themselves. And what we could observe here was definitely that it was at some cases like asking them for too much too quickly. Yeah. Because the simple thing which happens when you are kind of receiving in long-term conversation online is that you don't have parallel conversations which are much more like natural, like the kitchenette in the office, but you have the kind of serial sequence, right? Which means that at the end of the day at 5 you feel like if it's 11, and people for corporations are paid for it. Kids, I think, are receiving marks for it, which is a little bit unjust. So I think they had to accommodate quickly for something which was really high and big change, and there was a shift in authority and shift in the way how their time is organized. They had to be much more kind of self-organized.
Self-directed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in a way, the positive would be, or that fact that they got to adapt. They had to adapt to a new reality very fast and become more organized and responsible. And also the emotional discovery is like, look, my mom and dad are like that, and family is like that, and can be so really enjoyable. But on the same time, it's a forced break, right, on their mind, on their brain, which is not really matured enough to be able to cope with change that easily.
I think it also, it's important to have a little bit of segmentation, if you want, in all this question. One of them is on age. It depends on the age of the kid and school stage, because for some of them self-directed schedule, it's easier than for the others. At 5 years old, there's no self-directed anything, so it's a lot of pressure on the family. But on the other hand, it's important geographically. For example, the use of social media. I was talking with friends in the US who went through the lockdown, and who have teenage kids, both of them. And our kids were like, they didn't change much in their program, because a lot of their lives was already online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for them, it was not that impactful. Especially because it was almost in the period of vacation. They like to be online. They always interacted online. They were telling me, Mom, why are you so worried? It's okay. It's just the same, for them. On the other hand, my friends from countries like some friends in Paris, with whom I talk quite often, and from Spain, they resented more on the lines of what Jan was saying. And since the kids, their social life is in the real, not virtual space, as in the US, they resented it more, the lack of contact with their friends and so on, especially that teenage age, as my daughter resented it too. But for us, it was coincidental with moving from Hong Kong, and she was keep telling us, I want to go back to Hong Kong, I want to see my friends. And when the school started here 3 weeks ago, luckily, she doesn't even talk about Hong Kong anymore. She just tells me, yeah, sometimes I remember, but she has new friends here and there's not a problem. So that tells us, in fact, that social distancing is good, but sociality, we cannot do without sociality. Now, can we move sociality entirely in a virtual space? I don't know. Do we have to? I don't know either. But yeah, those are kind of, I don't know if you have time also to talk about some macro trends and some really important things that happened, like awareness of climate change, because it was all at the same time happening, and people became, and I think there's a more demand from a lot of people that politics should be green, because they understood really the impact of human activity, especially those who live near ecosystems, and they saw things, animals coming back. Like I was just seeing yesterday in Hong Kong, the white dolphin is back in the channels between the islands, which is wow, because the speedboats between Macau and Hong Kong don't travel anymore. They're one every 45 minutes, and they're like super speedboat, a lot of noise, dolphins would disappear. Now they're there, and it's interesting.
Yeah, for example, in Romania, because you were pointing the changes that you observed in Romania in your trip last 3 weeks ago. In Romania, this issue with climate change was always found as okay, we cannot solve this, it's too big for us, and even if we want to solve it, the authorities are not helping us, and so on. So finding excuses outside the environment. And now we have run a study, the study that we run every 2 months now on COVID, of course, the star of the moment. And this is one big achievement, one big success of COVID for Romania, at least. The fact that people consider that taking care of the environment and recycling and having a more responsible behavior in consumption and in using resources, it's actually their responsibility. Because look, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't wear a mask and protect yourself and so on, and you don't recycle, the earth is going to take a revenge on you. So much more into the spiritual level, like the culture usually functions in Romania. If God doesn't help us, then we have to, there is a sign from God that we have to.
I have to put a bemol on that and to say that no, it is not our responsibility. It is our responsibility to put those, how do you say, to demand that this is taken into consideration at the personal level, but also at the levels in which it can really make an impact. And that's the policy level, that's the corporate level, and so on. Yeah, because with recycling, you're not going to save the planet. Let's be very clear about it. It's not recycling that saves the planet. It's pressure on what you are given to consume, because nobody decided to have bottles made of plastic and be sold water in bottles, which in fact is what it sells you. It sells you the package. It doesn't sell you the water. Water is free. Let's put it this way. So there's a lot of conversation in climate change circles that the point is that climate change is a political thing, and what COVID did increase this political awareness, right? Yes. And the fact that we have to demand green, we have to behave green, and also to demand green. So it's both levels. You need to link individual, collective, and planetary. You cannot just stay individual. You cannot just demand only the collective, as you said, Adina, and you cannot expect that things will happen magically at planetary level.
Who is this you that you are talking about?
Well, you as an individual,
okay.
You have to first to behave, as you said, to behave consciously. Second, to demand collectively that the collective organization is centered around these ideas. And third, to link that to the planetary level. But in order to be planetary, you have to be really local.
But you agree that each individual, each you,
yeah,
thinks, has a different story about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Story. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Jan, you wanted to add something?
No, I just just a quick kind of blink connection between the topics. Alex started with or at the beginning had a premise that we realized we have a body. Now we are talking like we more realized we have a planet or whatsoever environment to live it. And I want to just pinpoint one thing, which is maybe not that optimistic, but just it kind of explains the context in which I see it. I think we were stopped in time. We were in stasis. Yeah. So like kind of the rhythm, the quick rhythm of life had basically went to kind of pendulum rhythm. Either you are locked or you are in office trying to kind of do the stuff quickly before it's closed again in a view. So the whole temporality of how you live is changing. And you also mentioned the physics changes also in terms of how we relate to space. So we kind of reconsider things which were happening because we were kind of running in a certain program involving also like what I pick from the shelf, because I'm used to it. I do not want to think. There suddenly was a huge room to reconsider, redesign your repertoire choices or also kind of your value choices, right? But I think this is happening actually at the moment when we are we were seeing difficult future, and this was a nice sign of something positive, and everyone liked to hear something positive. There are jellyfish in Venice. It is a kind of, every newspaper had to have it because there was hunger for something kind of pristine and nice. Yeah, but I think the whole thing is, what we do not see is how the whole pattern of how patterns are changing. At some points, the kind of global kind of supply chains and distribution chains are being disrupted in a way. We are changing our consumerist repertoires, and we are happy to see these changes. And it is clearly an opportunity for this agenda to be somehow kind of made more actionable for people when they go to store or when they open a box of something. But I think we do not see the context of patterns in which this will be happening, because these patterns are now kind of only crystallizing. Yeah, and I think this is one of the challenges, like how to actually exploit the kind of positive motivation which is behind this. Oh, we can now see we have bodies, we have certain environmental responsibility, and it is actually about, it is our first interest, not some agenda I do after I pay my checks, but it will again fit into some kind of breadwinning and everyday life structuring patterns which we do not see. And this, I think, will be this will be a huge thing to observe in the next half a year or a year, like how this will settle.
I would say more like 5 years from now.
Okay, yeah.
But it's really interesting you use stasis, because in fact what happened is, like, and I'm gonna use something, usually we realize we have a body individually when we fall sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now planetary we fell sick. So our link with nature is our body. We went without feeling sickness of the planet, and we forgot we have a planet and it's only one. So what happens, you know what I mean? Our connection with our planet is our body, basically. So this is the biggest chance that we have to go from stasis, not to metastasis, but to something, you know, to go to something that it get us out of the stasis, or we go to metastasis, and then we're
maybe
done.
we realize our body, our planet is our body,
yeah.
And it's made of our planet. And it, when something like this, when the motivation is so close to your skin and your body, that's becoming a positive motivation to change into something that is going to stay with us forever. Yep. So guys, we are getting close to an end, and I would like to make a round tour across our virtual table. Hopefully we will have a table, a physical one, to share, to have some shots, real shots.
I think it won't be tea.
You know, sometimes I mean, like the other 2 days, they were so agitated and so on that I felt this need for like 3 times per day. So it's getting closer, you know, to a happening, real happening. So before we have this our real shots together, let's have a tour around the table, and in 1 minute say what is going to be the positive outcome for the new world out of this crisis, from your opinion and from our debate. Of course, it's not a pattern yet, Jan. It's not. It's just the beginning of a story that's going to continue. Alex bet for 5 years. We hope it's going to be shorter, but let's see the positive outcomes. Alec, can you start?
Yeah, I think we just said it. For me, that's the most positive outcome, is that we realize that, first of all, we're material beings. We, not that we have a body, we are our body. Without it, there's no body. Let's be clear. And there's no economy. We've seen that too. without the bodies that move, economy crumbles. So I think that's the most positive thing about COVID. It reminded us about the importance of human beings as they are and of nature as it is, not as we kind of project it somehow.
Jan?
Just trying to connect several topics we went through to answer your question. I think this is the only rupture from my perspective, which is generational and which is kind of comparable to the fall of the previous regimes in our countries. Because kids will think about it this way. The kids we were talking about, for them it will be this change. Like they can feel that something is substantially changing. And I think I'm from the generation which actually kind of had their life story defined on 90s and on the change. And I think many things which actually run already on autopilot and form our lives are deeply rooted in those 90s, although we are in the third decade of 21st century. So for me, this whole change as a positive is exactly in an opportunity to reevaluate and restructure things, and maybe get rid of something which is actually deeply in 80s and 90s, but still was implicitly somehow under the carpets, infrastructurally shaping our lives. So that's the opportunity I see. There will be definitely something good, and it will be much more temporarily adequate or time-wise adequate, given the opportunities and the condition of the planet and technology and whatsoever. So I think the kids school at home will have chance to start a little bit more afresh. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like removing the dirt, disinfecting the past. Yeah, and I will end with my my major takeout from this until now. We will see. To me, it was and what I see among people, it's a time of amplifying the truth, the valuable truth of our lives, irrespective of whether this is about the climate, this is about the family life, this is about your professional life. And it's a moment of overcoming the loss and finding the love of that's bringing you real fuel for life, and not the one that is really crowded there just to give you an impression that you have a happy life, but focusing on the things that you really love, and they cannot be too many because you have a limited capacity to focus on things. But once you fill in the gaps and you focus on what is important, you actually get fuel for more and share more of your emotional, positive resources, and loving even more your life, your planet, the people around you, and so on. So it's more feminine, I agree. But
oh no, it's amazing. It's perfect. There's nothing feminine about it. It's full of meaning. Yeah.
Excusing myself, I'm just taking full responsibility for what I'm saying. But I think that we should all be carriers of that and sharers of that positive experiences that come out from positivity and love, and share it because everybody needs it. Kids,
yes, and I've learned something wonderful along your lines. I was listening to a podcast and someone ended it, an indigenous person from Canada, ended the podcast by saying, okay, goodbye, take care of each other. So I said, this is such a good thing to say, because all the time, take care of you, no, take care of each other. Because that's that's much more important.
Let's those 3 life shots, huh?
Uh-huh.
We have 5 years to plan.
Okay.
You guys, we are closing. From what I saw, there are no questions, but I do hope that people get a lot of pleasure and learnings from our discussion.
Yeah, and please give us dopamine. Give like, because it gives us dopamine.
I have news about how it worked. I will share it with you. Jan, thank you very much. It was so nice to see you. Maybe you are...
Likewise, guys, thank you for the shots. It was an amazing party.
Yeah. we'll do. It's your turn now to organize the. Yeah. We'll do it each one in turn, you know. Okay, thank you guys. I will end now the transmission, and you can we can stay a little bit in the lounge if you want to debate, to discuss a little bit further personal things and so on. But just to say goodbye in a more informal way. Thank you very much. Bye. I think I stopped the live stream. I think.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
It disappeared from the screen here, but it still says recording. So yeah.
Yeah, recording it's okay because I will put it on the YouTube channel. But recording can be okay. And anyway, you can record whatever, because then they are gonna cut the movie and so on. So I felt well. I hope you did as well. And we don't have too much time in 30 minutes, but we have to adapt to the channel, and people don't take too much time. You know, if you stay 2 hours, they are not gonna stay 2 hours with you. So at least 30 minutes, it's.
But I think it's good 30 minutes. I think, you know, we don't need to.
We don't know. It's not a pattern yet created.
Let's decide. And create it. 3 cups, 10 minutes a cup. That's all good.
You know what? I even thought about adding drinks to this, you know, because you cannot talk about shots and not have drinks and so on. You can have tea, whatever, but because it's tea, the teacup. But I don't know about you, Jan, how you deal with the online discussions. But I had this frustration that people were like talking with me with I don't know, screens and so on, and I had to, you know, I have fun in groups and I had to move my body and so on, and it was very frustrating at the beginning. And now I'm trying to relax. I mean, people got more relaxed as well, and it's closer to a natural discussion, but still so far away.
My observation was that basically, like, also there is something that changes in time, because like the early spring months were like, that people really felt kind of they were deprived from contact, and they wanted also to kind of let the steam. So there was a lot of energy also online, but I think like it's getting tiring a bit sometimes, like especially if you are from kind of corporate environment, people actually adopted it, but it's tiring in a way. With all the dogs from background and lorries and whatsoever. So like when the earth is actually interfering in the conversation, that's getting tough.
In a way, it's good because life is like that, you know?
Yeah. But
authentic. So you wanted dopamine, Alec?
Yeah.
It's 100. It's 137 views, but constant.
And
yeah.
1 like.
No, anyway, it stays there, and
Okay.
it's not only wildlife; it's still on Facebook all the time.
Yeah, how can I see it and share it? Because I don't see it on my profile.
You can see it because it was on my chronology, so it was on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I can see it, I must say. If I was observing it on the phone when we were talking. So
really, how did you do that? It's magic for me. It does.
I just looked for Adina's profile, and it was there on the wall.
Oh, okay, cool. And but we cannot share that, can we?
You can.
You can. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see.
Guys, it was immense pleasure for me. I have to run for the following meeting. I wanted to thank you for your invitation. I think it's nice format actually. I think like 30 minutes is right. It's just right for Facebook, and it was my very pleasure. I hope at least I added something of value, and it was my pleasure meeting you, Alec. I hope we'll have chance sometime in the future.
You could share it with your network as well.
I will definitely do. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye,
Send
guys.
you the recording one, yes? Bye.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.
Gata.
Yeah, hey, this was really good. Mi-a plăcut și Jan e foarte mișto, tipul. Hello.
De-aia l-am și invitat, că e foarte similar cu noi. Mă auzi? Ce s-a întâmplat?
Ce se întâmplă?
Eu vă aud.
Alec, eu te aud, să știi. Ce-a pățit? A pățit el ceva, să știi, Ada.
Cred că sonorul, da.
One new message. E el, cred.
Alec întreabă ce se întâmplă. Da,
Oh, știu ce se întâmplă. Mi-am deschis Facebook-ul pe computer și aud ce se întâmplă.
Adică nu mai suntem pe Facebook, mai suntem pe Facebook?
Nu, am deschis eu.
Nu.
Uite,
Just a
avem...
moment. So I post it and then I'll be with you.
Hei, avem și likes. Eu am likes multe aici. 15 likes, 6 distribuiri. Wow! Pentru un film e mult. ...145 de vizualizări. Mă auzi?
Da, te aud. Fii atent că share și eu acum, îl post.
Ia.
Ok.
Aici cred că am primit...
Gata, acum pot să închid. Ok, acum sunt cu voi. Scuză-mă că auzeam, știi când am dat share-ul la video, el a început să meargă și auzeam și nu știam ce se întâmplă. Da, scuzați.
Da, văd că e așa. Okay, guys, hi. Welcome to our 30 minutes meeting. 30 minutes.
Și tu, ai intrat și tu pe el, Adina?
Streaming that we are running. Eu mă uitam la like-uri, știi? Nu mai auzi?
Da, te aud.
Mă uitam că, deci ce fericită sunt că am făcut asta, nu vine să cred.
E foarte bine, cred că e foarte bine. Cred că așa
Asta facem.
Ok, deci vrei să vorbesc pentru săptămâna viitoare, vrei să vorbesc cu tipul ăsta din Hong Kong, cu Ilia?